What do you want me to do for you? Bartimaeus said to Jesus, Master, I want to see. The gospel is a medical story. It is a miracle of healing. Bartimaeus, what do you want me to do for you? Ano ang gusto mong gawin ko sa iyo? Unsay imong gusto, buhaton nako. My dear brothers and sisters, I was reflecting about this dialogue between the Lord and Bartimaeus early this morning. I remember a song which is known to many of us. Part of the song goes like, Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. My dear brothers and sisters, come to think of it, everything in life, many things in life is simply God's amazing grace. The gospel reading today is another story of God's amazing grace. The healing of Bartimaeus, the blind man, on the road to Jericho is one of the loveliest healing miracles in the Gospels. Bartimaeus is a blind man. Bartimaeus is a beggar. He could not work because he could not see. He could not see, that is why he could not work. And this has been his lot for a long time, begging by the peripheries. This is the destiny of this man called Bartimaeus. And then he heard something that kindled up a ray of hope. Jesus of Nazareth is passing by, and Bartimaeus knew that the chance of a lifetime was within his reach. Bartimaeus was not about to miss the rare opportunity of meeting the Lord, and from the roadside, Bartimaeus began to exclaim, Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me. It was a cry of helplessness. It was a cry of desperation. It was also a cry that is full of faith. My dear friends, let us stop for a while. Let me ask you a personal question. In your prayer, in your life, have you ever cried to God in desperation? Have you ever cried to God in a seeming hopelessness and seeming faith? Some people in the entourage of the Lord were embarrassed to have this dirty, rude beggar bother the master. They wanted to silence Bartimaeus, but he shouted all the louder. Jesus finally noticed Bartimaeus. Jesus said, call him, come over. And so the disciples said, hey, you get up, the master is calling you. Bartimaeus immediately proceeded to Jesus, who asked him the most important question in his life. Bartimaeus, what do you want me to do for you? My dear friends, let us again stop for a few seconds. If Jesus were to ask you the same question now, if Jesus will ask you the same question he asked Bartimaeus, what do you want me to do for you? in silence, you tell Jesus now, in a spirit of prayer, what you want Jesus to do for you. What do you want the Lord at this point in your life to do for you? What grace are you asking from God now? What miracle are you asking from the Lord to perform now? Bartimaeus said, Master, a very practical man, I just want to see. I want to see. And at the end of the story, Bartimaeus regained his sight. He became a follower of Jesus. And what is one lesson here? What is one point that we can learn from the gospel? Compassion for the outcast. Compassion for those in the peripheries. Compassion for the outcast is the hallmark of the ministry of Jesus. The mercy of God has lifted Bartimaeus up to stand and walk again along with the giver of mercy. I am reminded of another song that we sometimes sing in church. Part of the song goes like, open my eyes, Lord, I want to see Jesus. I forgot how to sing it. Open my eyes, Lord, I want to see Jesus, to touch Him, to feel Him, to tell Him I love Him. My dear friends, let me be frank with you. The disciples of Jesus have vision problems. How often do we use the metaphor of blindness to describe our own inability to grasp the meaning of the suffering that we endure, and the arrogance and the pride are very often the roots of our blindness. That is why we need a miracle of restored sight every day. Bartimaeus is special in the sense that he could see with his spirit that Jesus could cure his eyes. The ability to see beyond the present is wisdom. To see beyond the possible is faith. And faith is grace from God. Bartimaeus is not blind. He is only sightless. He is not blind. He is sightless. Bartimaeus sees better with his heart than many of those around the Lord, including the disciples, because of the hope and faith of Bartimaeus in Jesus. Bartimaeus knew what he wanted. Matter of fact, he was determined to get what he wanted. I remember St. Ignatius. Ignatius said that when you pray, be clear about what you want. Be clear. What do you want? When you pray, St. Ignatius said, when you pray, you be clear about what you want and ask God to grant it. This is also a fact of life. Those with clear goals are those who make it. Prayer should be a way of saying, Lord, I want to see. Another song I remember, day by day, to see Thee more clearly. Beautiful song. To love Thee more dearly, to follow Thee more nearly, day by day. My dear friends, as we recognize the things that blind us from the Lord and paralyze us from effective action, let us also not stop. Let us not stop begging the Lord to heal us. Lord, I want to see. And when our spiritual vision is restored, let us get up to follow the Lord more joyfully and sincerely. The Bible says that those who return to God are restored. Unsay imong pangayo sa ako? Anong gusto mong gawin ko sa iyo? What do you want me to do for you? Tell it to the Lord in this Mass, in a spirit of prayer and humility.